Just a quick second. There we go. Thanks so much.
All right, we're all on camera now. So as I said, welcome. This is the City of Waterday 2023 Partner Information Session, celebrating the resilience of our New York, New Jersey harbor. So first, we'll do a quick introduction for those of you who may not be familiar with City of Waterday, and for those of you who are, kind of a recap of what City of Waterday is, and how we plan on celebrating resilience this year. Then I'll turn it over to Liz, who will talk about applying for a City of Waterday small grant through HEP. And we'll talk about, that process, that application. We'll hear from Pamela Pettyjohn with some examples of how to get started and, what it means to host a City of Waterday event. And then we'll leave it open for questions. So if you guys want to kind of think through those questions as the presentation's going, drop them in the chat or write them down. We'll definitely make sure to have some time at the end to discuss. As well, this is a great opportunity to meet other partners who are interested in City of Waterday and find opportunities to connect and learn. So definitely make sure you're making those connections in the chat. But I'll just kind of jump in with what City of Waterday is. So this is the 16th year of City of Waterday. Ooh, very exciting. And this year it's taking place on July 15th. So for those who aren't familiar, City of Waterday began as a large festival, bringing together many partner organizations to champion a climate resilient New York and New Jersey harbor. Over the past 16 years, that festival has morphed into a whole region-wide day of celebration that resulted last year, and I think it was over 60 different events across the region in New York and New Jersey. Across all 5 boroughs. So this has become quite a massive day of celebration, which is very cool. So some of these events will range from free kayaking to rowing to hands-on workshops and education, waterfront access for people, as well as opportunities for individuals to get involved in local advocacy as well. So this is an opportunity for people to come to the water, have some fun, and see what's out there and learn about your partner organizations. So next slide, please. This year, for those of you who are familiar with City of Waterday, is going to look just a tiny bit different when it comes to the organization of City of Waterday and how we're talking about it. So as I mentioned, City of Waterday in most recent years, I think, Liz, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like 6 or 7 years now, we've had what's been called In Your Neighborhood events as part of City of Waterday. And many of you who are on this call today have hosted In Your Neighborhood events or are familiar and looking to host an In Your Neighborhood event in your neighborhood. Well, City of Waterday, as a day of celebration, we're going to actually be pulling away from In Your Neighborhood as a messaging, because every single event that's happening on City of Waterday is part of City of Waterday. So, that's kind of what we're talking about here today is, what does City of Waterday look like? It's a day of celebration with events across the region. So for this year, just keeping in mind as you're putting together your City of Waterday event, that these are all City of Waterday events. Everything falls under this wonderful celebration umbrella. Additionally, for those of you who are familiar with Art at the Blue Line, which is the climate art exhibit that's been partnered with City of Waterday for the past 3 years, we are also transitioning away from that as well. We'll be hosting climate art still as part of City of Waterday, but it won't be branded quite the same. We'll also have climate art events during Climate Week. Additionally, 2 other new things this year. So as you guys are familiar, if you've hosted an event before, we typically share a partner toolkit in advance for those organizations who are hosting an event. This year we will still be sharing a partner toolkit, but it will look different. It will be, it will have some new elements in it, including some social media templatized materials so that each of the partners can customize how they're doing their individual outreach, as well as some style guide information about how to message City of Waterday. Again, so that all of the events across the region are aligned in their branding. And so we can, get more awareness, get more people out to your events, and make sure that everything is consistent under this, 16-year-old region-wide, event or day. And then the last thing, and this is the most exciting, I think, is we have a new website, which is very cool. So for those of you, again, who are familiar, you may have seen in past years maps hosted on the Waterfront Alliance side website or the HEP website. Well, this year we have teamed up together and produced a new website for City of Lauderdale that I will preview for you guys now. This website is online now. The domain name is just settling in. So if you guys are searching for cityoflauderdale.org, it'll pop up starting probably this evening or tomorrow morning. But that website's going to have all the information that you're needing when it comes to applying. So everything that's here on this information session will also be available on the site. So any questions, you know, how to reach people, these toolkits, once they're available, will be linked there. So it's really going to be an all-in-one robust location to get all your City of Lauderdale information. So I'll preview the site real quick for you guys here. You want to go next slide. So you can kind of see there's a home page. So we'll be living on cityoflauderdale.org. Right now it's cityoflauderdale.squarespace.org. It's just, again, settling in. We'll send a follow-up email to everybody with a link to this site, but it will have, again, as I mentioned, you know, homepage information, the actual application that Liz will go through momentarily. You can see who the partners are, frequently asked questions. And then as we get closer to the event, once grants are, you know, awarded, the events themselves will be listed on this site. There will be, again, a map where you can see where all of the different events are hosted. We'll have a photo archive. So it's going to be a really robust site. You can also see some fun pictures here in the corner, a little preview of some of our social stuff. Next slide, please. You can see here, this is a preview of what the application page will look like, as well as the contact us form. So if you guys have any questions as you're putting together your application, or, you know, maybe starting on the actual logistics of the event and you want to be connected with another partner, or, you know, get access to a question or service, you know, you can definitely post a question to us through this contact form. If you're on this event, you also probably have our emails. So of course, we will definitely, if you guys have questions, please feel free to reach out to us via email as well. But this is an easy access central location. Okay, next slide, please. Last, and then there's the FAQ section, which will have plenty of questions. If you guys see questions that you have that aren't listed there, again, feel free to let us know and we can add that information to the site. As I mentioned, some additional pages that will be coming over the next few months is the photo archive, the event list and site map for 2023, as well as the partner toolkit. So please do let us know if there is other information or materials that you would like to see on the City of Lauderdale site as we launch that site this year. But that is it for the very exciting City of Lauderdale website preview. So I'll turn it over to Liz now to talk about the actual application process for your events.
Yeah, thanks, Aria. Super excited to see you all here today, and just a quick thank you for, you know, taking the time out of your day to participate in this info session. You know, I think it gives us a pretty good idea that there is such a big number of you that want to help us make 2023 the best City of Lauderdale yet. So super excited to see all of you here. I wanted to jump into just more details about the application process. A lot of you on this call are very familiar with what that looks like, but over the years, we definitely have gotten a number of new partners. And so I just want to make sure that we cover briefly what that application looks like, you know, what are some of the dates to keep in mind, and some considerations that we would love for you to also take in mind, especially if you want to apply for some of these small grants that we provide as part of City of Lauderdale. And I don't think I introduced myself. If we don't know each other, my name is Liz Vega. I am the Community Stewardship Manager for the New York, New Jersey Harbor and Estuary Program, also known as HEP. And every year, you know, I coordinate the process of these small grants. And so I'm lucky enough to know many of you. And, you know, hello if you're joining us here for the first time. So like Aria mentioned, we are moving a little bit away from the in your neighborhood concept. So again, all of these wonderful events, you see a snap of that, what that map of events looked like last year, our City of Lauderdale events this year. Dozens of communities across the New York, New Jersey Harbor participate on this day to celebrate a resilient and equitably shared waterfront. You know, that's still the goal behind City of Lauderdale. And like every year we have a theme. And so this year in particular, we're happy to share that our theme this year will be focusing on building resilience and community capacity to weather climate change, in particular of communities of highest need or environmental justice communities. Many of you have probably already heard us say this a bunch, especially if you're part of our other HEP work groups or committees. But thanks to the bipartisan infrastructure law that passed, HEP, being an estuary program, received some additional funds for the next 5 years. And so thanks to that additional funding, we are able to support programs like City of Lauderdale, for example, which is so important to us. And so being that that law focuses so much on resilience and infrastructure, we wanted to incorporate some of those major concepts and ideas into our theme as well. And so it is why, we're focusing on the theme of this year being on building that capacity and building that resilience within our communities. And so thanks to EPA and other sponsors that hopefully we'll be able to confirm in the coming weeks as well, we are able to provide that small grant support to participating City of Lauderdale organizations. And so thanks to that bill as well, we were able to bump those small grants a little bit more. So in the past, if you've been with us, you may remember that our micro grants ranged between 500 to 1,000. I think the most we might have done at one point was 2,000. But thanks to those additional funds through the bipartisan infrastructure law, we were able to bump that up a little bit. And so our biggest grants now range up to $4,000. And so we were super happy that we were been able to do that, and that we'll be able to do that again this year. And so again, and these funds could be used towards the cost of putting together a City of Lauderdale event, but not exclusively. So all we ask is that if you're an award recipient, that you provide us with a report around November or so, sort of like detailing how the program went, the impact that it had on your community, and basically just a summary of the impact of your event, and your photos, because we love them all. You can see why with these 4 pictures here below, which I think captures perfectly what some of these days look like all across New York and New Jersey. So to just jump into a little bit about our application process, again, if you've participated in City of Lauderdale multiple times, our application is not new to you, but we are doing things a little bit differently this year. Like Aria shared, we do have a new shared website now, and so you will be able to access that partner application through our website. I'm going to ask Emma if she can also maybe add that to the chat, since I'm sharing my slides, my screen. I can't do that right now, but yeah, it's available as of today, so you can begin working on your application today, and you don't have to fill it out just if you want to be considered for a grant. This is for everyone. So if you want to register as a City of Lauderdale participating partner, please fill out this application and register your event. In addition to us using the description that you add in your applications to add them to our map, which you saw in this little snippet here. We also use it for promotion, and we also use it to go into further detail on your programs. So for example, in addition to putting together that interactive map, which sort of allows people to kind of like toggle between sites and maybe scope out how many events they can hit on one day, we also put together a more in-depth list that sorts each event by location and organization, so people are better able to see, what it is that an event is offering. But then we also take it a step further, and we also promote your events on social media, and we also highlight them and highlight your work. So on the top right, you'll see here's a snippet of our newsletter that went out last year, right before City of Lauderdale, which kind of categorizes all of the events that are happening. So if anybody in particular really wanted to get on the water and wanted to know which events we're offering rowing or paddling programs, our newsletter did that. In a nice summary, so people could check out what were all of the events that were getting people on the water, and sort of like that. Same goes for like if they wanted to participate in citizen or community science. So that's why it's super important for us to be able to gather as much information from your events through your application. Again, it allows us to be able to share and highlight all of the wonderful work that you are working on. And then just to dive into a little bit even more details on the application process, I wanted to quickly share our our timeline of what you can expect. So today, March 9th, obviously our application is open, so we're very happy to share that with you. And like Aria said, we'll go ahead and share that link with you afterwards too, to make sure you get a chance to play around with the site and go through all of that information on your own. We are asking that if you want to be considered for funding support, so in the application, you will find that there is going to be a small checkbox that we are asking our partners to check off if they want to be considered for grant support. We are asking that you send your application in by May 1st if you'd like to be considered for funding support, to give us enough time to review each application and pick the award grantees. So you have, almost 2 months to go ahead and work on that. And, I encourage you all to get started today. And the applications are set up in a way where, if you started today, you can still go back on it tomorrow and the following day. So don't feel that because you started one day, you have to finish it right away. You can definitely take your time working on it. And then towards the end of May, we're hoping to have the list of partners that will be receiving the City of Water Day Award. So whether you are going to be an award recipient or not, you will be notified. And our goal for that is May 25th. And right around the corner from there, we're hoping to be able to share our partner toolkit, which Aria went into a little bit more detail earlier, which is going to have some really cool graphics that you can use to promote your events, and just other key messages that you can include as part of your event promotion. And so by June 15, we also hope to have a fully populated map. So this is again why your applications are so important. And we would love to make sure that, if we're promoting your event and sharing your events, that, those descriptions are up to date as much as possible. And so we want to be able to have a good full couple of weeks where we're able to promote your event right up until City of Water Day, which is July 15th. And again, kind of just digging even a little bit deeper into your application, why we think it's so important this year. Really the three main reasons that we stress that we want a very descriptive application from you is that it provides a preview of what your program is going to look like and the goals behind it. Our review team, not all of us are 100%, familiar with maybe like each neighborhood or community that you're proposing to work in. And so your application is really the chance for us to be able to get that inside look into your program in the community that you want to work with. Your application will also highlight the partnerships and collaborations that you are building with other groups in your community. And overall, it will tell us the impact that your program is going to have in the community and what your community members are going to be walking away with. So this is why it's so important to us. And so I think this is why the majority of you are here. You definitely want to make sure that, you get the best tips on how to build that application. I think everyone should take this into consideration, but I think, if you're an organization that definitely wants to be considered for funding support, I think these are sort of the three main buckets to really consider as you're building that application and putting it together. The first one is that we really would love to just hear who your intended audience is as part of your City of Water Day programs. What are the activities that you have planned for the day? It could be an event that's just 2 hours, or, it could be an event that's 4 hours or 6 hours. So whether your event is 10 to 12 or 10 to 4 or 10 to 6, we would really just want to be able to have a good idea and a good grasp on the kind of programs that you are proposing to put together for that day and who your intended audience is. If your intended audience is youth, how are you planning to engage them? Are you going to be working with high school groups, Boy Scout clubs? That's the kind of information that we would really love to see. Second, we also want to know what the goal behind your City of Water Day program is. We want to know who you're collaborating with and why. If your organization that maybe is just starting out, we completely understand that an event could be very small Sometimes simpler is the best. But if you're an organization who's joining us for the second, third, or fourth year, or maybe even more than that, we would just really love to see what you're doing to kind of, build those partnerships even more and expanding the impact of your program. So we would really just love to hear that. We want to know what kind of takeaways you're planning your community members to walk away with after participating in those programs as part of City of Lauderdale. How do they align with your organizational goals? Are you using City of Lauderdale as an opportunity to teach your community members about what you do the other 364 days of the year in your community? That's perfectly fine, but we want to be able to just know that a little bit better and get to understand how City of Lauderdale aligns with your other priorities and your other goals. And third, we really just want to know how you plan to promote your program and your event. Like Aria and I mentioned earlier, we're going to have a great time promoting those events and sharing all of your wonderful programs on our sites and our communication channels. But we also would love to see what's your intention on how to promote your own events and your own programs. You could plan for a dozen of different things to do that day. But if only one or two community members show up, then, will your event really have as much of an impact? And so we want to see all of the measures that you're taking into ensuring that your City of Lauderdale program is going to be successful and it's going to have an impact on your community and your community members. So please keep that in mind. And I think I will leave it at that because there is somebody much more experienced on that side of things who's going to come and speak to us in just a bit. So if you have any questions, it's a little bit hard for me to take a look at the chat, but as Pamela is going to be joining us in just a few, I will try to answer those on the chat. But just a note that if I don't get to them, we can definitely circle back with you either at the end of this session via email, or we've also set some time of open discussion at the end of this call too, to kind of talk a little bit more about our partner questions and address them a little bit more. So with that, I just want to leave you with these three main things. Please check out our website to stay on top of our latest news. Follow us on the social media platforms that you see listed here. It'll also make it a little bit easier for us to reshare your stuff and all of your wonderful events the closer we get to City of Lauderdale. And my email is on the chat. Please feel free to reach out if you have any questions again about this or anything else City of Lauderdale related. Please feel free to contact me at any time. So with that, I will go ahead and introduce our partner, Pamela Pettyjohn. She is the president of Coney Island Beautification Project, who is going to share a couple best practices and tools on how to keep those partnerships sustainable and impactful as part of City of Lauderdale. So Pamela, are you on? There you are. I can see you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for coming. I'm Pamela Pettyjohn from Coney Island Beautification Project, and 2023 will be our 10th year celebrating City of Lauderdale. And how we got started, we started right after Sandy, and we found that our community was afraid of the water. Understandably, when you have that much devastation, people were afraid to go back to the water. So City of Lauderdale was a tool to help us bring the community back to the water and also to have some fun. So it was a tool that we used that helped to heal the community. But you have to understand, it's a lot of fun. It's a day where we invite all the community to come out, all of our partners, all of our, we've been very, very fortunate over the years. We had every year it kind of changes some. So we have sanitation, we had a wind company with us, we have emergency management, we have I see in the picture that's showing there is the Billion Oyster Project, Parks Department, all of our partners throughout the year. We try to invite them to come out and talk about all the work that we're doing. Everything is either related to the waterfront or related to resiliency or climate change. We even had Coney Island Hospital come out and bring their machines and take people's high blood pressure. We even had a volunteer ambulance company to give CPR, lessons, we had the why. We just bring everybody, and our focus is all of Coney Island community. Young people, everyone, homeowners. There's concerns about climate change and resiliency. Everyone has concerns. We have an opportunity to bring information that they may not necessarily have access to. And also we have so many games and things that we play with all of our young people. Yeah, that's our community. We we come out for City of Water Day. Last year was very interesting because the focus was on art and the blue line. You see all the blue shirts and blue t-shirts we had lined up to show. The blue line was to show sea level rise and where it would be in our community in a very short while. But the art part, what we did was we had art contests. We just got barrels from the Parks Department, and we had contests. We had the aquarium had summer youth. We had oh, I'm so sorry. I'm just trying to think of all the groups that were there. The explorers were there. So each group of young people, they took a barrel and they were able to compete for prizes. We also had tables for young people that were too young to compete, but they felt part of the art contest. The art contest consists of not only painting and drawing about climate change and resiliency, but also the spoken word, whether it was a poem, or we even had someone that wrote a rap lyrics for yes. Jillian wrote a wonderful rap lyrics about resiliency and climate change. So that was wonderful. For all of those that are new to City of Water Day and just starting, I want you to know this is not a hard thing to do, to invite your neighbors out, to invite the people that you come in contact with, and look into your community for explorers or scouts. These are young people that are looking to volunteer. They need those volunteer hours. They're more than willing to come out. Even if you have a summer youth program, invite them to come. We've been working with the Friends of Kaiser Park Summer Youth, the Explorers and the Girl Scout and Boy Scouts, pretty much the whole 10 years that we've been doing City of Water Day, and we would never be able to get as much done without them. And so we had an opportunity this year to kind of recognize them and give them just a little plaque to show our appreciation. But there's plenty of resources, and remember, you're there to share information, fun, even if it's we had just some games and whatnot, like big Connect Four, and just things where people can come out to the waterfront, have fun, learn something, and go back and wait for the next event that we have on the waterfront. And that's what City of Water Day is. So have fun and invite your community as if you were having your own private backyard event, and just have fun. And if there's if we can take any, oh yeah, that's we've been doing this for quite a while, and I think the neighborhood looks forward to it now, the community. And we even have some of our sponsors coming and making sure that they have a spot. As you go on, they know that you're going to be there every year, and they know to contact you and to make sure they get a table. And
Perfect.
if there's any questions or if I can help anyone, please feel free.
Thanks, Pamela. And I did just want to make a quick note that we do have links to those videos, one of the spoken word that Pamela just mentioned. So we'll be sharing those links with you on the chat as well. So you can feel free to watch them in your own time too. And yeah, if anybody has any questions for Pamela or maybe Aria and myself, please feel free to raise your hands and we'll get to you or add them on the chat as well, if that makes you feel a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah, so this is definitely the open discussion portion of the information session. So don't be scared. If you guys have thoughts, feedback, questions, brainstorm, now's the time.
Hi, this is Andrea. Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Hi, I'm with the Army Corps of Engineers in New York District. I work in our Mission Support Office, which works with our Executive Office, the Commander and Deputy Commander. So this is the first time I've attended the info session. I did go to volunteer at our table. I think it was in 2018 or 19, but I didn't help with anything ahead of time. So since we're a federal government agency, do we have to apply with the application, or we can just automatically come with the table? I don't know how that works.
I think
Hi, this is Pamela Pettyjohn. It would be wonderful if you could team up with one of the organizations that are hosting City of Water Day and be able to bring information to the community. I don't think that you actually have to apply for City of Water Day, but it would be wonderful to have you team up with one of the groups that are hosting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the Army Corps, I don't know if there are specific locations that, that they are more interested in when it comes to tabling, but if there are any partners that we can help connect you with, you definitely don't have to sign up, to be a City of Water Day host on your own. But if there are a couple events or a couple locations, like let's say Coney Island, for example, where your office has a particular interest in engaging with the community, then please either feel free to reach out to me, Aria. If you know who's going to be planning the events, also feel free to reach out to them too. But if maybe you're a little bit lost on who's doing what, feel free to reach out to me, and I will definitely connect you with those partners who are more likely going to be hosts this year, so that they can know that you're interested in tabling, or if it's even providing info sheets, or sometimes even stickers or water bottles, whatever it is. If you want to go ahead and use that opportunity to share that with the community, I'd be happy to connect you. But yeah, don't worry about signing up for an event. I'd be happy to connect you with the partners that you'd like to table at.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, if you could, your email address is in probably one of the emails I got, like in an email thread, I'm assuming.
Yeah, and I'll also go ahead and add it to the chat right now so that you
Okay,
have
thank
that
you.
easily. Yep.
Perfect. I see Zach, you have your hand raised.
Yes, when you were talking about the grant support, you mentioned going out on the water. So does that mean that on-water events are more prioritized, or was that just an example that was given? So I was sort of wrapping my head around that, or is it more about the community being reached and or served?
Yeah, thanks, Zach. That's such a great question. I think, it really does depend on where your programs are taking place. If you don't have easy access to the water, we're not going to expect you to bring people out on the water. But even if that's maybe not your focus, because maybe that's not where you're ready for, maybe if your first, the most tangible thing that you can do is just engage your community in educational activities. That's absolutely okay with us too. As we're looking through the application, without giving too much away, we really do consider a large number of things, anything from organization size to the capacity that you have to the kinds of programs that you're proposing. So if you're a volunteer group who can only engage folks in educational activities, we're going to consider that as part of your application. We know that you're not going to be able to put a program together where you're going to take hundreds of people out on the water. We absolutely completely understand that. But that's why the description of your event is so important, and the goals behind your event in the application are so important, because that's really what we would like to see. So I wouldn't say that we prioritize on water events. They're always great to have and great to see. But it's not, I wouldn't say we strictly prioritize on water events. We just really want to see how you're engaging the community. I think we definitely put more focus on that for sure.
Perfect. And I'm sorry, one more question, and
Go
this,
ahead.
I will monopolize it just because we do have the ability to get people out on the water, but then the idea of resiliency, does it have to be tied directly into that theme for the day, or is it more important for the presence of water itself?
Absolutely. And I think we also completely leave that up to you. If you can make the connection with your other programs, we don't want to pigeonhole anybody. And that's why I also struggled a little bit with maybe putting what a perfect application would look like, because I wouldn't want people to be limited or think they have to submit an application in a very particular way. We understand that every organization, has their own way of working. And so if you can make the connections, we want to hear it. If you're proposing, how a certain activity is connected to resiliency, if you say that, working with kids and showing them what green infrastructure looks like by using a sponge, hey, that's still connected to green infrastructure, and that's still making us more resilient at the end of the day. So absolutely, what we want to see is just those connections. And again, if you can connect that to the bigger picture and the theme, it's an A+ for us in our book.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And also the Seaport Museum is open to working with any interesting partnerships. So anyone here that is like, man, we have this idea, where could we do it close to the water? Please reach out to me. I think everyone here, someone in this call, feel free to give my email to everyone. I'll drop it in the chat. So
Perfect. Yeah.
No
Thank
problem.
you.
Great. I'll just touch on, Lewis had some questions in the chat about emergency weather and how that will be handled over the summer. So just to touch on that really fast, City of Lauderdale events are independently produced by each of our partners. That's, why we're here brainstorming. So it will be up to the discretion of the partner who's hosting their events on how they want to handle extreme weather, inclement weather, any of that kind of thing. All of these events will be listed on the City of Lauderdale site. So if you do need to postpone, you can communicate that to your community. You can put that out on social. Your event will not be removed from the site just because it's being rescheduled. So definitely, we want to be understanding of, the weather and of course, all of these things that we can't control and are trying to. So I hope that
Yeah,
answers your question.
absolutely. Any other questions?
Yeah, if anybody is looking for, I know that we've mentioned potential partnerships like the Army Corps, Coney Island, South Street Seaport Museum. If you're looking for a partner or an organization to work with, feel free to drop that in the chat and just say, hey, I'm looking to partner, and put your email in there. This is definitely an opportunity for all the different orgs to get connected, and now is the time to start planning.
And unless anybody else has any questions, and if you do, please feel free to just jump in. We would like some feedback from you all as well, which is why you see that we have come up with a couple of questions here for you too. So curious to know your thoughts on these two questions in particular, and that's on the virtual promotional side of things. So as many of Waterfront Alliance puts together this really great partner toolkit with some key messages that you can use to promote your programs. And this year, we want to also provide more in-depth graphics that you can also use as part of your promotions for your events, whether it's like a flyer or you want to make like a social media post. Hopefully you'll be able to use these graphics. And so I want to throw that question out to the group in terms of like virtual promotional materials. Is there anything else that maybe we're not thinking of that you would like for us to consider to include as part of that toolkit? Like I think I saw a question in before about like a flyer template, would something like that look useful to you? Like maybe if you want to actually post paper templates around your community to advertise your event, is that something that you'd be interested in? Curious to know if there's anything on top of that that maybe folks would benefit from having as part of that toolkit.
Why?
Great to see all of these potential partnerships in the chat. All right, I think we can give it a couple more minutes, and then if nobody has any other questions, we can end a little early and let you guys go play around on the City of Water Day website. And just a reminder that if you are doing any sort of City of Water Day promotions on social media, please use the hashtag City of Water Day, and of course to follow Waterfront Alliance and HEP on those social channels, but definitely using that hashtag will make sure that it's seen. And if you guys have any other feedback regarding the questions that are on the screen, or what you want to see out of the website or the partner toolkit, please feel free to shoot us an email or post that on the contact us page on the website.
Yeah, I'm seeing a comment that somebody loved the banner from last year, so that's
Yay.
really great. Actually, I'm so glad you brought that up. We still have, I want to say like about a dozen more banners that are already there, ready to be sent. So that's that. And then we do have some extra funds this year to be able to produce more banners this year as well. But also, if there's anything else that we in terms of maybe like stickers or pens that people think would be beneficial to have the day of your event to give out, please let us know if you think that would be useful, because we really do want to maybe put some funds away to be able to create a little bit of that merchandise for you so that you can then share it. Last year, we had a really small budget for some of that swag, which Aria likes to call it, but we were only able to provide it for the organizations that received a City of Water Day grant. So this year, we might have to go a little bit smaller if we want to offer it for everyone. Our intention, our goal is always like, if we can put that money away towards giving somebody an award, we'd rather do that. But we also do understand that it's always nice to give something out to your community members. So, we're taking that into consideration again this year. So if anybody thinks that there's anything in particular useful that maybe works well with your events, like I know like stickers are always a big hit, please feel free to also drop that in the chat, or, just follow up with me afterwards too. And then I also just wanted to leave it open as well. If, you participated in City of Water Day last year and there's something that you think we can do differently or other groups can do differently to improve, feel free to let us know about that as well.
It's a good idea.
Yeah. The reusable straws are definitely a big hit. We've found that to be a big hit for sure. And yeah. So I think it would probably be helpful to also, so what I'll do is I'll save this chat and I'll also send around a note on all of the great conversations that are happening here between partners. I'll make sure that everybody gets each other's contact info, just to, and whose email is attached to who and what organization do they represent, just so that you all have that easily available. So I can definitely do that for you all. And then feel free to respond to that thread as well if you want to make further connections. But yeah, so it sounds like you're all ready to go in terms of the planning. Thanks so much, everyone, for being here today, for carving a little bit of your day to be here with us. If you have any questions, you have our contact information. We will follow up with these email connections that have been taking place on the chat. And yeah, here's to a really great City of Water Day this year. Thanks for joining us, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great rest of your day.